Hello, Joy Brooks. When I launched Email and Coffee, it was a manifestation of my passion, my calling, a way to be heard. For 2 years, I poured my heart into this project, believing it was mine to shape and control. However, a profound realization gradually dawned on me that the platform wasn't mine at all. It belonged to my guests and audience. This sparked a new passion within me, the passion to listen. I had the privilege of speaking with Prudence Uyungroth, and that reignited yet another passion, a passion to learn. There are takeaways from every interaction we engage with. We only need to slow down, listen, and learn. And now, dear Prudence. Hi, everyone. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I'm talking today with Prudence, whose last name I am learning to say, Uyungroth. Go ahead. Introduce yourself, Prudence.
My name is Prudence Uyungroth. Well tried. You actually, I think I give you 50%. So you're still going to figure that out. Thank you so much for having me, Joy. It's really a privilege to be on the show with you. My name, like we have said, is that Prudence Uyungroth. I am a social worker. That's my profession, and I love it so much. I love the line of work that I am doing, that is working with children. I work at an orphanage, children's home. That's what I prefer to call it. And also, I do a couple of voluntary work in the community. I work with a number of young women, mostly teens. I teach them how to crochet because that is one of the things that I love to do. Crochet was initially a hobby for me, but right now it's more of what I want to use to impact the lives of a number of young women. Because during the times that we sit and interact with them, that is when I get to listen to so many stories they have to say. I get to hear experiences from them, and I just love how they interact with each other. So I just want to use crochet to support and also empower them. Basically, that's what I am. I am a Christian. I love to serve God, and I love life. I love this beautiful life that God has given me. And what is life if we do not love it? Yeah.
To the fullest. I hear what you're saying. So you live in Uganda. So what's
Yes.
life like now?
Well, I love Uganda. I don't know any other place to be in, so I just love what is available for me. I love the climate here. I've grown up and I have been raised in Uganda. I've really not moved much away from Uganda. So there is no way I can say I don't love Uganda because this is the best that I know how to. I love the people that are in my country. I love how happy they are. Some of them are sarcastic, the young people, looking at the different things that are happening in my country. So I just love my country, really.
That's
Mm.
even though you haven't been far, feeling that connection to your country, the traditions, the traditions that connect the people together. What are some of those traditions? What are your favorite traditions from Uganda?
Well, there are a couple of them because in Uganda we have so many tribes. First of all, there are over, I think there must be over 50. There are so many tribes, but usually we love to pair them up or to group them up. We have the central region, we have the eastern region, we have the northern, we have the southern. And for me, basically, I am from the northern part, that is mainly West Nile, commonly known as West Nile. And I wouldn't say I love the traditions of my place so much because I have grown mostly in the eastern part. And well, I just appreciate what I have. I appreciate their dances. I appreciate their food. And there are some things that are a bit hard for me to cope, especially with the foods. That is from my side. The food is hard for me to cope with. I don't love it so much, maybe because I haven't grown up from that side of my area. But as someone who is just so much in love with life and what life presents for me, the different traditions in the different regions that I have mentioned, every time that I am faced with a different culture, a different, kind of way of doing things, the dances, the foods, I just appreciate what is on table. I wouldn't say that I have a favorite one or I have one that stands out for me. I just love wherever I go. I try as much as I can to be flexible and to fit in. So I really don't have favorites. I just love the cultures and the diversity.
That's always something that, I'm always attracted to something that's different. Like,
Okay.
um, and because I want to learn, whether I don't, I try not to make a judgment. I just try to do it or
Okay.
learn it or hear it. And then I might say, oh, it's not for me. It's okay. Like food, for example, right?
Yeah.
Um, I were to travel, I would, you know, eat what the locals eat and not even ask what it is
Okay.
because you might
That's
make a
interesting.
judgment, right? You might make a judgment. Just say, "Look, let's find out what is it." And
Yeah,
then you
sure.
say, oh, it's good or it's bad. And then you say, well, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Um, so when you said, you think like, first of all, Uganda, I don't, Africa's huge, but Uganda is probably, is it
It's East Africa.
East, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
not huge. It's not one of the larger, but there's so many countries. I mean, countries in Africa.
Mhm. Uganda is in the eastern part of Africa, East Africa. We are bordered by Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda, if
Right,
you've heard of them. Yeah, it's
right,
just one small country in East Africa.
right.
Mhm.
And you had mentioned that the food, like you're from the north and you now in the east, and the food is different. And in any place, Italy, Switzerland, any place you go, the food's going to be different.
Yeah.
You don't think that way. You're like, oh, all German food is the same. Well, that's not necessarily the case. All Italian food is not the same. So what makes the Eastern or Northern food different?
You see, when you are not used to a certain kind of food, it is supposed to be my staple food. It is supposed to be the food that I love, but I haven't been eating it, frequently. So when I get to eat it, it is new food. It's new food to me. And honestly speaking, I do not distaste any food. I eat whichever food is presented to me at a table. Yeah. But of course, there is always the bit of saying, oh, I think I love this much better. I love the other better. Honestly speaking, I know one thing for a fact. I'm not a foodie, but I eat everything. Yeah. So there was a time I was telling a certain friend of mine, it would be a big mistake for someone to put me at a kitchen to test if the food is good or not good, because honestly speaking, I'm not good with flavors. I just eat because, oh my, I have to live, I have to eat. So if something is nice, yes, it's nice. If it's not nice, I won't complain. But yeah, I know for sure. Well, it just doesn't give me that vibe. There's nothing so bad about it, and I do eat it. Yes, like I said, I eat everything, but I just don't love it. That's what I can say.
Lately, I've been looking up foods that
Yeah.
are just that I would consider bizarre, right? So I found a recipe for let's see if it's eggplant. It's called black eggplant salad.
Okay.
Now this is Sudan recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's from the Sudan. So it's eggplant with peanut butter.
Okay.
And just to say those two words together, it's like, right, exactly. It's like, what? I saw the recipe, I saw the woman making, and as soon as she got to the peanut butter, I'm like, what?
Okay.
And then I made it, and it was very good. It's very
Well,
good.
actually, we do a lot of well, I know you call it peanut butter. We call it granite paste, and we do that a lot. And sim sim, if you've heard of sim sim, mostly, oh my, it's a cereal. It's a cereal. Yeah, mostly in my at the other side where I come from, we do a lot of peanut butter. We do a lot of sim sim. Almost each and every food prepared, there is always that mixture. It's really what we eat a lot in our place. When you spoke about eggplants, well, eggplants, I'm really not so much a fan of eggplants, but I love it when they have been dried. Yeah, if it's dried up and then you prepare, then you add that peanut butter you're talking about. It's tastier than eating the fresh one with the peanut butter. Okay, for me.
This recipe, I looked up a bunch of different ones. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see what you can add to it. And some people added hotter peppers, so they made it spicy. There were just a few different things that made it different, but I was like,
Hmm.
it's a dip that you eat with bread. And I was like,
Okay.
and I made it, and I was like, this is surprisingly delicious.
Okay. What did you have it with? You had it with bread?
I made some homemade bread, so I had it with. So I would put it in a little dish,
Okay.
and then I would spread it on my bread. What did I have with that? Like an avocado I had on the side. So it was just a simple little lunch type of a thing, and it
I'm
was
glad
very
you
good.
loved it. It's
Yeah,
actually
I,
weird. It's weird for me, or funny rather, to me, that you say when you looked at it, it wasn't appealing, but then you went ahead to prepare it. I mean,
right.
who does that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. My husband would look at me and run to McDonald's
Mm,
because he'd be like, "What is that? Oh, it's eggplant with peanut butter." No, and
right.
he would say, "Why would you want to do that?" And
Mm.
it's because there's a lot of odd foods that when you put them together are not as odd as you think,
Yeah, sure. You're right about that.
and the tastes are pretty good. The other recipe, I have like this foodie that I'm following. She's called Food by Maria or Foods by Maria. She's Greek and she makes a lot of Greek dishes. So there's a lot of everything with yogurt, everything with yogurt. Whatever she
Okay.
makes, it's got yogurt in it. And I'm like, okay, I could deal with this. And this recipe has chickpeas, quinoa, fennel, and pears cut up in a certain way. The chickpeas and the quinoa are made a certain way. And I thought, the texture just sounds fabulous to me. So I have that. I printed that out. So I think yeah, here it is, crispy quinoa. I printed it out. I'll be making that this weekend. I do this. I'll just look for odd recipes with foods that I like, different foods I mean, the foods themselves I like. So, like, put them together and see what happens.
So you love cooking. I know.
Yeah,
You wouldn't go
I like.
around collecting recipes.
I love collecting recipes,
Oh,
and I'll
that's
make
nice.
I'll make foods that I recognize in different ways because I like to do that.
Oh, wow.
Like you like to crochet and it brings people together. If
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could, if I could, I would have like a Friday dinner that I invite people to, where I make different foods. I would do that. I haven't done that, but I would. My girlfriend always comes by, and she enjoys the odd foods that I make. She enjoys them.
Wow.
So social work in Uganda, and you're working at a children's. What'd you call it? You didn't
Home.
want to call it an orphanage. You said a children's home. Yeah. Yeah. So how many kids are in the children's home?
Currently, we have 37 children. Yeah, we do have 32 children, not 37. We have 32 children, apparently. The boys are 10 and the girls are 12. Yeah, and yeah, that's the number.
So you run, it's a home, so you have school there for them because there's enough kids that you could do that. I mean, what's a day in the life of one of these young children like?
So usually what we do have a certain primary school where they all go to, and very early in the morning, 6:30 a.m.
It's
They're
cool.
on
It's
their way to
cool.
school. Yeah, they're on their way to school, and then some of them come back at 1 p.m. Those are the ones that are in kindergarten. The ones that are in lower primary return at 4 p.m. and the much older ones come back at 5 p.m. And then when they are back, we do serve them supper at 6 p.m. Then very recently we introduced some reading time. They can read for about an hour or do other things. But before the reading time, we do have what we call evening fellowship, where we meet up with them and then, talk about the Bible, speak to them the word, share with them the word. And we have decided to let them take lead these days. I mean, come up and say, I'm Prudence and I'm going to preach to you today about, this and that. And then we have those that are leading in the choir, those that are leading the singing, and then, the one that is taking lead in how the program is going to be like. Yeah, that is what they do for the evening fellowship, but of course, guided by, we have the caregivers, the caretakers, we call them mothers. And for those 32 children, we have 3 mothers, 2 mothers to take care of the girls, and then we have 1 mother who takes care of the boys. And so during the evening fellowship, the mothers, excuse me, come together with the children, and yeah, where there is need for guidance, they're available to guide them. Right after the prayers, usually it's around 8 p.m. So they'll go have some little reading time. At most, it's like an hour, and then from there they'll, go clean up and then go to sleep. They wake up at 5 a.m., have their morning devotion, and do
Long day.
cleanups. Yes, then do cleanups. So basically, that's the life at the children's home. And of course, the other support staff, we have the security, and then the social workers, the directors come in and out, and then the administrators. Basically, that's what we do. And then, of course, this orphanage started in 2009. That was the time it was registered, 2009. And for all those years, we've had a number of children that we have reunited or reintegrated with their families. Because in as much as the reason I said I want to call it a children's home, not an orphanage, not all the children are orphans, actually. Some of them are victims of domestic violence. Others are victims of, so many things, corporal punishment. And then we get different reports from the probation office and then also from the police. And usually when these children are brought in, it is our work to do the tracing to go find out, okay, where does prudence come from? And can't we negotiate? Can't we reconcile this family to find out why are they beating her too bad to the extent of having terrible bruises on her body. And sometimes we find that just family issues, stepmom, stepdad, things around that. And then we do the reconciliatory bit, but usually it takes a very long time. Before you know it, a child is staying at the children's home for quite long period of time, especially for those whose families we cannot trace or we cannot find in time. So that's how they end up staying a longer period in the orphanage. But it is really our desire, especially of late, when we realize the best place that a child can actually grow in is their home, a family.
Mm.
So we are really trying as much as we can to see if we can reunite Prudence with her family. Let's do it. But with reuniting a family, finding out where this child comes from, and reconciling the children with their mothers and fathers, sometimes it comes at it is quite costly. Yeah, so from the time we started to where we are right now, we have been able to, reunite over, I think, 150 children, and some of them are still in secondary. So some of the services that we continue to provide for those children that, we've integrated is that we continue to support their education journey, academic journey. We have a few that have, finished university. I think this year particularly, they're about to read. Then we have those that have finished tertiary institution and in different fields. And and basically that's what we do and how we operate on a normal day. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. How old is the oldest child that's grown up and become an adult?
Well, if we look at the children or the persons that have, gone through our hands from our time of initiation, right now I think the oldest child should be about 25. 25. We have that lot. We have big children, or now adults, but we still call them children. Yeah, we do have those that have already, out in the field. Others finished school, others didn't finish school. There are a number of different factors, especially if you take back a child in the community. There are so many things that happen. Not everyone has finished school, but a considerable number of them have at least finished the tertiary level and they're able to do something.
It it must feel frustrating to some extent in the beginning and then rewarding at the end. So, when a child comes in, it's frustrating. You have to find out what's gone on in the family. Why is the child here? You do that tracing. But then as you see the child grow, it must, every child becomes your child, right? And that growth that, whether it's challenging for the child or whether they champion whatever they have, it still must be, this is, it's another, you must have like 50 kids. You must have 50 kids at this point. You have 50
Almost.
children, right?
Almost.
Or more.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens with social workers. And I
Yes.
don't know if you can, do you feel like you have to limit yourself, or do you just dive into it with them at, with passion and everything?
Yeah, in as much as my profession is social work, and someone can be a social worker for so many different fields. And right now, I am basically in this field of children. And when I look at how do I work well with these children, I have to accept the fact that this is not just a job. It isn't a job anymore. It is, I am here for a reason, and I'm here to transform or to change someone's life. By virtue of these children coming to this home, it means there is a problem at their home. There is a problem in their home. So, what is my place in their heart? What is my place in their life? It's for me to make it a better life for them. Yeah. So they would also be asking themselves so many questions. Why am I here? Maybe they do not even ask themselves those questions. But it is funny to them that some children whom they go to school with are going back to their homes, and for them, they have to come back to the orphanage, and yet at one point they have been in their home. So for me, it was challenging at first. When I first started working with children, it was, I wouldn't say it was challenging, but when you work from the point of I do not even understand why I am here, I thought it was my job. Yeah, I have come to work. Over time, it became a part of me. Now I love children. I'm a lover of children, and I love to encourage people that I meet to become valuable in the lives of children, because apart right now we see them as children, but within a few years these are adults, and honestly speaking, what the quality of the adult that we need is determined by how we raise them. It's determined by the environment that they grew up from. So if the environment is toxic, then we might have to get toxic adults. The only good thing about them, they now have to work it out on their own when they're adults, if they have grown up in a toxic environment, to try to heal from it. That is why we're going to hear people say they're going for so much therapy sessions to heal themselves of that childhood. And yet, honestly speaking, to be someone who has been given an opportunity to impact the life of a child, we have to handle it from the point of I am raising another generation. I'm not just raising this child, because even in the you literally see them grow before your eyes. Before you know it, this 5-year-old is now 17. Oh my God, how am I going to handle this? Yeah. So we see them grow right before our eyes. And that is what I'm trying to use every challenge that I see. That, when they say there is pain in the offering, yes, there is pain in the offering. But now you ask yourself, what is the end game? What do I want to see in this child? And we have met so many bitter people in our lives. We meet bitter people on the way. I mean, you're just walking about and someone throws an insult at you. You haven't done anything to them. So it is teaching me to try and not make this prudence that I see to also just be, that worthless adult. And that is how I find myself trying to overcome some of the challenges I meet along the way. And I'm like, okay, yes, I know there's pain in this offering, but I am here for a reason. I'm here to ensure that we have better people on the streets. We have better people in, places of work. Yeah, that is what pushes me to overcome those challenges.
I think that everybody questions why they're here, and they go on a quest to discover who and what they are. And the truth is, you end up right back at square one. You are who you are.
Yeah.
And it's not so much you need to find who you are as much as it is sort of, how about this? You go out in life and you find a chair and you're thinking, is this the right chair? I don't know. I'll look for more chairs. And you're searching for chairs. In the meantime, that first chair, you needed to sit down in it and get comfortable and say, I'm really lucky to have this chair. This is my chair. It's not the best chair, There are many chairs,
Yeah.
but this is my chair. And I think that many people that go out in life to find themselves eventually come back to themselves, and that's the whole journey. It's a very odd journey,
Yeah.
and 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 work that becomes a calling that calls you in the morning. That you wake up and you don't say, "Oh," you
Another
say,
day.
"Ah." It's the same word, but it's just a whole different mentality perspective. It's like, oh, another day for me to, fix this,
Yeah.
not another day, that problem again. You're going to fix the
Mm.
problem. You're going to try another way to manage it, right? And that makes, that makes, that makes, that makes the miracle. Right. So you also write, right? You journal every day. And I know that you mentioned that a while ago when I talked with you. Are you still journaling or?
Um, I'm not one of those very serious people who journal like every day. Oh, this is what happened in my life, blah blah blah. No, I am. I do write when something has come up in my mind. But I love the idea of writing. Um, Usually, the topics that interest me most are topics of advocacy, and then topics of lately, I find myself drawn so much to topics of, um, self-reflection and gratitude, self-discovery. I find myself getting so much drawn to writing articles in that line. But the writing that I do, it's more like the personal one. The personal one is all about talking about the things that I am grateful for. I find myself drawn to that much more. And at least for that, I do every day. That is the journaling that I do every day. Oh, I thank God for this. Sometimes it's just one thing that you are thankful, excuse me, grateful for that day. But also looking overall the things that have happened in your life, you can't but marvel at, the fact that you have come. So for me, that is mainly what I write. Um, and when you are up and about doing this and that every other time, sometimes you lose track on, the writing bit because, oh my God, you need to think really big. And I think if I remember well, the last time that I told you, I keep having ideas in my head. Ideas keep popping every now and then. I'm like, God, what am I going to do with this? So right at my bedside, I have something that I call my little mailbox. Every time I'm doing something, reading something, or working on a crochet piece, and an idea pops up in my mind, those are like props. I just get, I have pieces of paper also at the side. I just get a piece of paper and then I write what idea it is that has, come up on my that has popped. When I write it down, I just, put it in my box because I know at some point when I feel like I need to write maybe an article and, I'm out of ideas, then I can keep up from my, whole box of lots of ideas that, kept coming through. I can pick from them and then I, build on it. Basically, that's what I do. But yes, I love to write. I love to write, really. It gives me a sense of peace, and then you reflect really a lot about life.
Yeah, I enjoy writing as well. And I have I walk every day, and I walk 3 dogs every day.
Wow.
So I will walk and I'll have ideas and I'll think, oh, I'll remember this.
Wow.
And I can't stop and write it down. I've got 3 dogs.
Ooh.
So I uh, I had I was listening to I do audible books when I walk. So I was listening to a book and there was something in the book that was a great sentence. I wanted to quote it. I have no idea what it was. And it happens to me at least once a week. At least once a week.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm desperate to find, if I'm listening to a book and I have one earbud in my ear, and I've got 3 leashes and 3 dogs, and a quote or a sentence occurs to me, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I have no way. Stop the book, turn on some sort of a recorder, and say, this is what I think I want to. I mean, I have no way of doing it. So I keep thinking, how do I make sure that I can jot down these momentary thoughts? I haven't solved that problem. That's a challenge.
Actually, I understand there are times when you do have ideas, even in the middle of, doing something else, like I mentioned. The other one works for the bedside, and now even at my desk at the office, what I do, I created another mailbox, right, right on my left, and I got a few sticky. I didn't know, not sticky notes. I got a few papers, tore them up, and then I stapled. I put them in there, and I'm like ideation corner. So I mean, every time an idea pops in my mind, I just pick it up because I'm not going to rush to my bed to, and why I do that is because you see, we do have notebooks around everywhere. You have this notebook, you have notes on your computer, you have notes on your, I mean, there are so many spaces to write. And then sometimes you write and then you don't even have the time, or you might even forget you wrote something there. But now I know, okay, when I'm in my office, this is my, this is where I put those ideas, those random ideas. When I'm in the in my room, this is where I put those ideas. So it's easier for me to remember, oh, I actually had an idea. If I'm like, something popped up in my mind somewhere, where did I note this down? It is easier for me to know, oh, this is, I put it up there. So when you say that, I really understand.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get a small pad and put it put it in my pocket with a pen. And when I go for a walk, I just have to remember, uh, you know, it's an odd kind of thing because, as I said, I'll be saying to the dogs, stay, stop, no. And I'll be trying to write, and the words will be going like this because they'll be pulling the leash. No, wait, stop.
But also,
Intentionally.
I think another thing would be, I mean, if you say you're going to move with a notebook and a pen, that's not going to work because you're going to find yourself, oh, today you used this cloth for a walk and you forgot the pen or in that particular, but there's one thing for sure that you're going to be moving with every other time you move, or that is your phone. So you could just create a section in your phone where you type it in there because oh, these are for walks. When I'm walking, this is what I'm equipped with. But I mean, you're going to try finding your papers and pens everywhere, and it can be frustrating. Yeah,
I could just see me trying first without my glasses because I
yeah.
don't need glasses to walk. So I'll
Mm.
be trying to type into my phone, even still writing. I'll be writing something. I'll have to write it. Like write it all the way out here because I don't. If I put my glasses on when I walk, I'll trip and kill myself
Oh,
because these are to see words, not
yeah.
like I can see you fine. If you held up a book and asked me to read it, I'd be like, gotta get my glasses. But if we're having a conversation, I need glasses. When I
Okay.
when I am wearing my glasses and I get up from my desk, I do this because otherwise I'll trip and fall. It's like, oh, the stairs are
Sorry about
oh,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah. It's
understand.
very exciting. Growing old, very exciting.
You must have so many of those stories to write.
I have very humorous stories to write. Very humorous stories.
Mm.
Uh, so, so there's. Oh, I remember the other question I wanted to ask you. How does social media impact you? And how does social media impact the children at you know, at the orphanage?
Mm, Well, I don't think social media impacts the children because we really haven't exposed them to social media. The children at the orphanage. Of course, we do have the younger ones and the much older ones. The older ones are those that we have reunited, yeah. For those, I know, they have gotten in touch with social media by virtue of them now being out there in the community. But the ones that we have here, we haven't really exposed them to social media. Yeah, but they can, have they benefit from social media through us, yeah, because usually we're going to show them maybe movies, but I don't think, no, that's not from social media. We do show them movies and things of that sort. There's not so much social media with the children, but of course when you look at it from the other side of how has it impacted the work that we do, it is from social media that we are able to um, to get known by people like you. There is a Kamali Children's Home, and usually that is how people want to interact with you and see if there is room for collaboration or if there is any way that they can support. That is the main benefit or impact of social media, because when you have so many children that you are you are looking forward to impacting, it's the journey can never be easy if you're walking it alone. You need other people to walk this journey with. One thing that I believe is there are so many people out there who do not even know what to do with their life. They want to get an opportunity to make their own lives fruitful. They want to get an opportunity to transform someone's life. And it is no use to keep silent with what you are doing. It is no use to do your work in a box. But if the other person can get access to the work that you are doing, it acts as an inspiration, first of all, to the community that we work with. Um, you see, there's so many people who don't think they should take up a child to support. I'm your auntie, maybe your mom and your dad passed. But if I am seeing an external person coming in to support children that are not their own, I should be ashamed of myself as a relative who is not able to take care of her own blood. Yeah. So for me, I feel that serves more like an inspiration or an encouragement for people in the community to support their own people. Like I said earlier on, it isn't I personally wouldn't want to grow up in a children's home. Neither would I want any of, that is not something that I wish for anyone. Yeah. So the inspiration that many people out there draw, I hope it teaches them to be able to take care of other people's children. If there is an orphan out there who, has no support, and God has blessed you with an opportunity, maybe you have a job and you have the resources, I think it should inspire you enough to take on children around to support. And also through the children's home, we have seen many people say, "Oh, I think I would love to support this child." Where would that particular child have gotten an opportunity to go to school if they hadn't come or if parts hadn't led them to Kamali Children's Home. Yeah, so apparently we are educating over 170 children. And where would those children have got an opportunity to go to school if it wasn't through Kamali Children's Home? And as not many, most of the sponsors are not even in Uganda. So if it wasn't for maybe social media or the internet, how would they know that it's a genuine, organization? How would they know it exists? So
Mm.
I think the impact of social media is eh, inspiring others, inspiring, and then also giving these children an opportunity to, yeah, by God's grace, find someone to support them.
Mm.
Yeah, basically that's it.
It's so different in the States, or I would
Mm,
say outside of a small community, or because here every child here in the United States will have access to a cell phone and a computer and a tablet, right? Um, I would think even the most underprivileged child will still have access, right? They won't have necessarily access to an adult like yourself. So they'll use social media as that education, which is not good. Your explanation of social media is refreshing to hear from me because it's the positive side of social media. It's what it can do to lift as opposed to what it can do to smother a child. Because your children are getting up at 5, doing their chores, going to school, coming back. At no point in time are you going to see them like this, right? And our kids all day long are doing this. What, Ma? And it's refreshing.
Oh, I think so.
I think
Okay.
so. I
Well
think
then.
so. Now, when the children grow and become adults, and go either they go back home or they perhaps they get an opportunity where they're by themselves and they get a job or move out of the local community, perhaps move somewhere else. Um, Obviously, they're going to be introduced to the wide world. They'll get a job, they'll have a computer, but they'll have 15 years, perhaps anywhere between 5 and 15 years of of an opportunity of not being tethered to a device and having the opportunity to talk to people, do activities with people. You're sitting around, for example, you're sitting in a group of women, a women's group, and you're crocheting, and everyone's talking, telling a story, asking a question. Maybe you'll lean over and say, "Oh, that's really nice. What are you doing there?" And everyone's there. No one's in the corner doing this. And that's what you'll find. You won't find anybody crocheting. If you go, let's say if you go to some sort of an event.
Okay.
Let's say I have a gardening community at the
Yep.
library. We meet
Mhm.
once a month. There will be at least 2 people on their phones during the conversation. Whatever they're doing, they'll be on their phone.
Wow. We do experience that with the other communities. Yeah, with the other communities, we do experience that. But right here, you see, even the children that are in their, different families, they do have access to phones. But here specifically, I mean, our needs are much more than the phone. the best. Oh yeah, I mean, these children need food. They need food, they need clothing, they need books to take them to school, they need school fees. So um, if I am trying to pull resources, if we are trying to pull resources to ensure that every child has school fees, adequate school fees, why would we put our eyes onto the phone? But of course, our curriculum in Uganda has changed of late, yeah, and most of our children now have to use the phone. But of course, I mean, it's nothing connected to social media. So that rings the bell in our minds that we actually have to introduce them to, computer basics of computer at a younger age. They get to know, how to use the internet and but that for us, I mean, it is a need, but it's a secondary need, not because it is a secondary need. It's a secondary need because the needs of food, clothing, school fees, and books is much more compared to the needs of them getting computers. We do have space. We can have a computer laboratory, but yeah, that can be a plan for another decade. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
is
yes.
the thing is that there are basics I
Yeah,
think that everyone needs.
yeah,
Everyone needs
yeah,
clothes, food, love, security, a bed. Everyone
yeah,
needs those things.
yeah.
And we need to remember that, and we do forget. And when it's not, how do I say this? I don't like to use the word privilege because I don't think that, if you have privilege, that means you should be eating chocolate cake all day long. That's a waste of privilege. Like if you have the money, why are you wasting it on chocolate cake?
Mhm.
Right. So it's it's like we need the basics and we really need to appreciate some pretty important opportunities. An opportunity for a child to go to school.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty basic and very important.
Very important.
And for them to have a phone to go to school with, it's not necessarily like the next thing. It's like, do they have the books? Do they have shoes? You know, do they need a coat? Do they
Yeah.
need a book, a pen? These are things that, are they getting lunch at their break? These are things that we really should be, back to basics is very important to me.
Yeah.
I personally would rather be growing my own food in my garden
Mm.
if I can. If I have
Mm.
that thing, that's an opportunity. Oh, I have a backyard and I have dirt in my backyard. What can I grow?
Yeah.
Then, oh, you know what? I have an opportunity. I'll go shopping. I'll go look for a new dress. Like, I would rather be picking weeds in my garden.
Wow.
I'd rather be playing with mud. So I think it's how, what we teach the children, and then they learn to appreciate
Yeah.
opportunities that will come their way. They'll
Mhm.
choose. They'll choose.
Yeah.
So, oh, I have notes. I should look at my notes instead of trying to pull something out. Oh, who are your role models?
My role model.
And how do you introduce that concept to children? Like, do you introduce that to children? How do you do that?
Well, let me start with the last. When you ask children, who is your role model, they're going to tell you, now, those people they have studied about Nelson Mandela, I don't know, Obama, the people that they have had, the people that they have been taught about. I think growing up, I also had a role model, I think. And as with this journey of growing up, I realized there are some attributes within me that I am chasing every now and then. I am chasing every day that goes by because there is a prudence I see that I am trying so hard to get a hold of. And she's like, I'm up here. You have a long journey too. That is the role model. I'm like, hi, Prudence, I love this about you. I want this for me. Yeah. So it's like I feel like there are two of me in this world. There is that Prudence that is up there. And I am learning so much from her. And every day I wake up, I'm like, I want this for me. So in a community or in a society where we are all looking at, oh, I want to be like Joy. I love this about Joy. I'm trying as much as I can to look at the people that do the work that I would love to do better than me. I'm looking at learning from them. But there is that ultimate goal of the person that I would want to be, the person that I would want to become. And it's a never ending journey. It's a never ending journey. You will never arrive at it because every step that you take, her level, she just keeps going. She just keeps going. So I am pushed to keep running. I'm running every now and then. I'm running all the time. And, it can be so challenging because I can see it. I am on the path, but when am I getting there? You understand? So for me, the question of who is your role model, there is that Prudence I see, and I'm running to catch her every day. She evades me. She evades
But
me,
it's good that
but
it's
I'll get
prudence.
there.
It's good that it's prudence. That's a really fabulous answer because the point is that the role models. Let's say you're somewhere and somebody's got something, or they have something, they say something, they've done something, and you think, oh, and you're envious. Oh, I wish that I was like so, right?
Yeah.
There, I'd like to be like that. And it's first envy. But I just, when you were speaking, I just realized because I often, I sometimes think of envy as a sin. Like I'm like, don't be envious. That's bad.
Mm.
And when you were talking, I'm thinking envy is so close to that role model. It's like I envy that person. Why? Because they travel and I don't. So you want to travel? Well, yeah, but I have no one to travel with, and so learn that, and that's when you catch up with yourself, because you might say, "Oh, so you want to travel? How important is that in your life?" Not very, but you're still envious of other people that do that. Okay, right? It's okay. So that means that that part of yourself you may never catch up with because the part that's missing is that you don't want, for me, I'm actually speaking about myself, and I see people that are traveling. I don't want to travel alone. I want to share that experience with someone special that will um, enjoy the experience that I'm enjoying. So, let's say I want to go to Greece, right? I want to go to Greece. Well, I don't want to bring someone who's going to want to go to the marketplace all day long and shop for clothes. I want to bring someone who's going to want to eat the food and talk with the people and sit in the square and maybe go to the Acropolis and maybe walk. That's the person I want. So that's a long way off. I'm going to be chasing that dream for a long time. But that's my dream. I'm the role model. I'm the role model. I want to be that joy that's gone to Greece with someone else. It's not going to happen. Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Right now, it's not going to happen. So, do you has it ever occurred to you that the kids think of you as their role models or other people in the in their settings? Like, it's something natural. Again, it's that it's sort of, it starts with envy, where they're like, oh, so and so has nice clothes. I wish I was like that. Kids do that all the time.
Yeah, it does happen. Sometimes in my circle, I do receive messages, or someone says, "Oh, you inspire me a lot." I'm like, "Huh, me?" So there are times when the children write to you a special note, and then they give you. So I'm like, okay, if this child can write me a note, they can, design something, and then they say, "This is my letter for you." I'm like, okay, I think I'm doing something, so I need to keep up, or maybe up my game. And sometimes it's like an appreciation letter. So if a child can actually write to you, it means, this I'm speaking about between the age of 4 and 12. If they can write to you, oh, it means, you're doing something. And it's so hard sometimes on our own to realize the impact that we have on other people. So if the people can tell you what they think about you, or they just write something to appreciate you, then it is a message telling you that you are doing well. Keep up. Then there are, for from adults, people in the same age group or above, if they can tell you, "You're doing a good job, you inspire me. Every time you do this, every time you say this, I am inspired." It challenges me instead to keep doing that. And it acts as, an it encourages you, it pushes you, with this social work. There are those times when you feel you have hit the rock, and maybe you start second guessing the work that you do. But when people tell you you inspire them, they have started doing something because they saw it from you, then it acts as encouragement, and they're like, "Oh, so I am supposed to be here, no going nowhere." Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you ask the question of role model, I wouldn't say people think that I am their role model, but yeah, they do send me those messages. They do tell me, I inspire them to do certain things. I push them to do certain things. So yeah, that could be an answer. Yeah.
Children will imitate other people. So if they see something that they like, maybe they'll wear their hair like you, right? Right? Or if they see somebody dress a certain way, maybe they'll try to dress that way, or something like that. Now, girls are more like that, but boys do the same thing. So if they see a boy that's rough and tough, they'll try to imitate that boy because maybe that boy impressed them. Or if sports, that they'll try to get involved in those sports. So adults do that, right? But we don't necessarily recognize. Maybe we don't recognize it at all. It's important to see what someone said. It's not so much the words and the actions that you say. Sometimes they begin in your head and then you act them out. And that's something that it's not so apparent when a child is doing that, right? It's not even apparent when an adult is doing that. But it is what humans do. I mean, it's how humans learn. And so, it may be something that, maybe something that you may see the next time you're looking at a little girl or a little boy who's, perhaps done something, dressed differently. Like you can look around to see who, is this one looking like that one suddenly? You know what I'm saying? Um, and, you know, styles are like that, right? So you see a trend,
Yeah.
and as I said, this happens. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
It can be with food. It can be with books. It can be with all these things. So and so's reading this, so I'm going to read that. And those are the little things in life that many of us don't recognize,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So what types of projects are you working on? Any special projects, or anything that's slightly exciting you at the moment? Like I know I saw at one point that you had posted a crocheted dress.
Yeah.
So is there anything, any project that you're working on now? Anything?
Oh my God. All the time I'm working at something. Well, there is a lot. Apparently, I am 90% on a certain baby blanket. Then I am 70% on a single bed blanket that is to be joined by granny squares. And at the same time, I am working at the one for a queen sized bedspreads, really. I would want to call them blankets. Yeah, and then there is a bag that I am 95% on because I have looked around for the accessories and I can't find them. So pretty much the work is done, but the accessories are evading me. So really, there's just a lot. Why I say I'm working at those, I'm working with the girls. So sometimes we are working together because you would be asking yourself, how are you able to work on all of those things, at the same time? But anyway, I do that really. You see, with crochet, we have the big projects, the medium, and then the small ones. But it can be tiring sometimes for you to be working on a big project, and then it gets boring. So you would want to pick something much smaller, so that if you are, tired or it's gotten boring, you go lift your energy with something that you can complete, and you're like, oh, I just completed this, so it boosts you up to go finish up the bigger one. Yeah, those are things that I am working at with the girls.
Do you
Yeah.
make your own patterns, or do you buy patterns? Where do the ideas come from?
Some of the patterns you just look up an item online and then you love it. You're like, this looks interesting. I think I should work on this. There was a time I think there are like three patterns that met me when I was working. It just came up. I'm like, oh, I think I can do this and twist it around here. And then before I knew it,
Right.
I had a very beautiful pattern. So that is something that just came from as I was working at it. That's how I got a new pattern. There are there are three patterns that I just learned from. Then the third pattern, why I say I'm really not so sure if it's a pattern that I got myself. Um, right after I discovered that pattern as I was working, one time I found someone tutoring that pattern. I'm like, okay, so I thought I had discovered a pattern. It's not my discovery. Someone already have it. So yeah, basically that's
So,
how.
how many different like pattern stitches are there? How many different
Ah,
stitches are there in crochet?
there are very
Crochet.
many. There are very many. Very many.
Funny,
I can't even tell you how many. One thing I know, there are over 50. There are very many.
yeah,
Yeah.
many. Do you have a favorite one?
You see, a favorite one depends on, for me, there's lots of work that I have to be doing, and crochet is not like the main work that I do. It's not like my full-time job. So usually, if someone hasn't chosen a pattern that they want for a particular product, I'll just use a pattern that is easier for me to go by, and I'll work it out. The only times that I'm going to try figuring out what's the best pattern I should go by is if I'm making a really, really special offer for someone and they haven't asked me to work on this, but I just want it to be a special gift for them, then I'll put in my time to give it to them. So my favorite, I think I just love all the patterns. I really love all the patterns. I every pattern complements the mindset as you're working at it at that point, and the inspiration behind the crochet product that you're working at. So if I say maybe this particular pattern is my favorite, then I know every pattern is beautiful for that item, and I derive at that particular pattern based on the mood and the nature of the product.
I have a few friends that crochet, and they also knit, but the items that they do most, because in New York it's cold, is mittens and gloves and hats and scarves.
Hmm.
And whenever I see them,
Hmm.
I always hint. And I know that they're making lots of stuff, and I'm always like, oh, that hat that you made me like 5 years ago, it's really nice. But the scarf, fell apart, so I don't have a scarf anymore. And if you make me a scarf, it won't match the hat.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. So
Oh
I
my.
really appreciate the handmade, crocheted, or knitted um, offerings that you mentioned. I really do. I don't know about other people, but I do. My friends are talented, so when they make me something, it's not odd. It's like very attractive.
Wow.
So I hope your
Wow,
friends
lucky
appreciate.
you.
I hope your friends appreciate your offerings.
Yeah, sure. I hope they do.
So
Cause there's so many common patterns. The ones that are really, really common, those are the ones that I use for ordered stuff. Because I mean, you see, people do not value crochet work, by the way. Even when they pay you the money, I'm like, okay, I'm telling you to pay me maybe 80,000 Uganda shillings, and they're telling me, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. So I'm really not going to use a pattern that is going to take me much more time and a lot of head work. I'm not going to do that. If you think the money is a lot, yeah? So what I do, I'll make for you something beautiful. The colors will be rightly matched, but it will be a pattern you'll meet with someone along the way. Yeah, so it's really not about it's about people valuing the work that you do. If they value the work and they are willing to pay the money you have told them to pay, then you can create something really, really special and unique for them. That's what crochet is all about. Yeah.
that's what crocheting is all about. Exactly. It really is. Oh, anything that you create for someone becomes personal. I mean, you could buy something, and if you buy it, it becomes personal because you're buying something. Oh, I love that color. I love that pattern.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That becomes personal. But when someone makes that for you, that's even more personal.
Yeah, sure.
Like you can't throw it away personal. It's all ratty and falling apart, and you still wear
Yeah.
it because it's that personal.
Yeah. Sure.
So I appreciate you coming and talking with me. I know it's getting late in Uganda. How
Mhm.
can people find you on the internet? Is it just LinkedIn, or where can people find you
Well, my
if they
name
want?
Prudence Uyong Growth. I use it across all my social media platforms. But for the initiative, the crochet initiative with the young women, I go by the name I am great and capable. But that is also, yeah, on Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. I am great and capable. That is how they can find me. And then I do have a website still in my name, prudenceyounggrowth.org. Yeah, I'll share with you the links. That is how they can
I'll put
find
them
me.
below
Yes,
when I post the whole conversation.
sure.
So may God be with you.
God be with you too. Thanks for having
Thank you
me.
very much.
Hmm.
I totally appreciate your time and all your good words. I hope that it inspires some people
I
to
hope
rethink.
so. I hope so too. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.